This is Meghan Markle's sickest stunt yet.
In the distance. And then not long after that humiliation, obviously this is on the stage, everybody's there watching it.
Also, this is the same town that her mother-in-law passed away in. Prince Harry says it was due to paparazzi, and Meghan's literally chasing these flashbulbs throughout the city.
They really hate each other now, and they cannot hide it.
Hold on to your teacups, because this isn't just gossip. This is a full-blown royal train wreck, caught in slow motion under the blinding New York lights. Picture it, a city that never sleeps, cameras flashing like lightning, and amidst it all, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, the couple who thought they could rewrite the royal rulebook. But then, from the chaos of the crowd, one voice cut through the glitter like a knife. Stop using our children! Time froze. Meghan's famous smile faltered. Harry's jaw locked. Her fingers, always poised, gripped his hand tight, a silent panic hiding behind the red carpet grace. This wasn't just another royal appearance. It was the sound of a fairy tale cracking right down the middle. And as the flashes kept going, each one a blinding reminder of what they'd become, the truth began to show. The cameras weren't capturing love anymore. They were capturing lightning, cold, bright, and merciless. But here's the real kicker. The storm didn't start in New York. Oh no, that was just the finale. The chaos began months earlier, far away in Paris, the city of love that turned into the city of betrayal. Because before New York, there was Paris. And Paris was where everything began to fall apart. On camera, they looked perfect. Two modern rebels rewriting the rules of royalty. But behind the velvet curtains, insiders were whispering. The script was starting to rot. Every event told the same story. Meghan performing for headlines, Harry shrinking into silence. Remember the Kevin Costner gala? That awkward moment when she grabbed the mic and Harry's hand, only for him to pull away like her touch burned? Yeah, that wasn't just awkward. That was the soft launch of their downfall. By the time New York rolled around, it was déjà vu. Same characters, fewer lines, less love. But what could have changed Harry so completely? The answer lies in two places: a city obsessed with fashion and a tunnel that still haunts his nightmares. Let's roll the tape back to Paris. Meghan's so-called grand comeback.
The villain, how was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her.
Balenciaga front row, flashing bulbs, a sea of paparazzi. It was supposed to be her triumphant return to fashion royalty. But guess what the insiders whispered that night? The jaw-dropping outfit that had everyone talking when it wasn't even hers. Borrowed, returned, tags still attached. And in the ruthless world of fashion, that isn't just a detail. That's humiliation. A-listers borrow when brands trust them. Meghan borrowed because they didn't. What should have been a fashion moment became a silent signal. The industry didn't buy her act anymore. And just when the Paris glitter started fading, came the tunnel. That tunnel. The Pont de l'Alma. The same place Princess Diana lost her life. And would you believe it? Meghan's team filmed her there, smiling softly, scarf wrapped delicately around her neck, cameras rolling like it was a movie.
They seem to be doing more and more things completely separate of each other. But I've noticed a real shift. It seems that Harry is the one being elevated. It's Harry being asked to go to events.
Later, she claimed she didn't know where she was. But come on. Meghan studied Diana's life like it was a syllabus. Every outfit, every gesture, every heartbreak. That tunnel wasn't coincidence. It was symbolism. To her, it was drama. To Harry, it was sacrilege. That moment, that one moment, was when everything began to crumble. When the video leaked online, Harry's reaction was volcanic. Off camera, off script, pure rage. Insiders say that night he snapped, really snapped. In their hotel room, the air thick with silence and resentment, he demanded, "How could you turn the place where my mother died into content?" Her answer? Cold, detached. It's just a clip. It's not that deep. But to him, it was sacred ground. That single sentence hit harder than any headline. Because to Harry, that tunnel wasn't just a place, it was purgatory. After that night, he didn't raise his voice again. He didn't argue, he just went quiet. And sometimes silence says more than rage ever could. Then came the third act of this modern tragedy. New York, the red carpet that would expose everything they tried so hard to hide. Flashbulbs popped, fans screamed, the illusion still flickered. But look closer. He leaned away, she leaned in, her smile, bright for the cameras, his forced for survival. That wasn't love, that was choreography. Every glance rehearsed, every touch timed to the second. They weren't partners anymore. They were co-stars in a performance neither of them believed in. And just like that, the internet smelled blood. Within hours, Twitter became a crime scene. People zoomed in, slowed clips, analyzed every blink, every muscle twitch. "Did you see that eye roll?" one comment said. "Watch his hand, he's loosening his grip." Another noted. TikTok dubbed it the divorce glare. Reddit called it the hostage smile. Memes exploded like fireworks. Harry's face became a running joke. "Blink twice if you're trapped." Meghan's grin edited into horror movie posters. One viral caption read, "If this were a Netflix show, they'd call it The Crown Final Season, The Breakup." And honestly, the internet had already made its verdict. Would you believe her after seeing that clip? Because apparently the whole world didn't. And just when you thought the palace couldn't stay quiet forever, whispers started echoing through those cold royal halls. Rumor has it that King Charles himself had finally had enough. He was considering cutting the last thread that tied Meghan to the royal family, her title. That title, Duchess of Sussex, isn't just a name, it's oxygen. Without it, she's just Meghan Markle again.
To invoke the memory of dead Princess Diana in a deliberate attempt to terrorize her long-suffering husband, Prince Harry.
Again, I have to be careful.
Together like salt and pepper. And given that this is a woman who he has chosen to lose everything.
And in Hollywood, that name doesn't sell fairy tales anymore. For Harry, though, the title means something else entirely. Regret. It's the last piece of the kingdom he gave up, the only fragment left of the life he once had. If he lets it go, he admits he lost everything. For nothing. So they stay. She for relevance. He for pride. It's not a marriage anymore. It's a pact. A quiet, sad agreement to keep performing the illusion because neither one can afford the truth. Every love story ends, some in fire, others in frost. Theirs froze before our very eyes. What began as a rebellion against the crown turned into a brand, an empire built on contradiction. She, the woman who begged for privacy, turned her pain into press tours. He, the man who said cameras destroyed his childhood, now lives behind one again. Paris exposed the truth. New York confirmed it. This wasn't royalty reborn, it was royalty rehearsed. They weren't partners anymore. They were co-stars in a fading franchise. The chemistry, gone. The illusion, cracked. The fairy tale, running on fumes. They turned grief into branding. And once you do that, what else are you willing to rewrite? And here we are. The story coming full circle. Paris was the beginning, New York, the aftermath. And somewhere between the tunnel and the red carpet, love quietly packed its bags and left the room. There won't be a press release, no teary statement, just fewer smiles, fewer sightings, and fewer reasons to keep pretending because in the end, Meghan didn't just lose the palace. She lost the plot. And if you've been following this saga from the start, you know this story isn't over. The lights may fade, but the whispers, they never do. So if you love scandal served cold, don't go anywhere. Because trust me, this royal drama, it's just getting started.
If there were a divorce, it would be a more dignified way of extricating him from the situation.
The simmering tension between the duplicitous Duke and his facelift-enhanced wife. Here's the red carpet arrival.
Hey, Harry, when are you going upstairs?
After that glittering New York night, the world only saw flashes and headlines, but behind closed doors, the silence was deafening. People close to them whispered that Harry had started sleeping in a different room during their US trips. Meghan, meanwhile, had begun calling her PR team more than she called her husband. Every appearance became an act, a performance choreographed to prove that the Sussex brand was still alive. And yet, those who really looked could tell something was missing. The spark. The little glances that once spoke volumes were replaced by polite smiles and perfectly timed poses. The couple who once fought the palace together now seemed to be fighting each other, quietly but constantly. Friends say that when the Paris video went viral, Harry didn't just feel betrayed, he felt exposed. It wasn't about the tunnel anymore, it was about trust. Because how do you love someone who turns your deepest wounds into content? And the public noticed. Oh, they always notice. Suddenly, every gesture became a meme, every eye roll a headline. The same fans who once adored their love story were now dissecting every second of footage. The hashtags flipped from hashtag Sussex Strong to hashtag Free Harry overnight. Paparazzi shots told the story better than any article ever could. Him walking ahead, her looking back, always on her phone, always posing. It's ironic, really. The woman who once said she wanted privacy was now being followed by cameras of her own making. Some insiders claim she planned every step, every frame, every narrative. She's not reacting to the press, one said. She's producing her own. Harry, though, looked like a man stuck in reruns of his worst nightmare. The flashbulbs, the noise, the same relentless chase. Except this time, he wasn't running away from it. He was walking straight into it. hand in hand with the woman who brought it back. Whispers from London started to swirl louder. Inside Buckingham Palace, courtiers were done playing nice. The word was that King Charles had reached his limit. After the Paris backlash, the royals began quietly discussing a nuclear option, stripping Meghan's title. The idea was brutal, but symbolic. Take away the title, take away the story. Because without the Duchess of Sussex crown, Meghan was back to being just Meghan Markle, a name that no longer sold fairy tales. In Hollywood, doors had started closing. Brands were pulling back. Invites that once had her name at the top were now regretfully delayed. For Harry, it was worse. That title, that one fragile connection to his old world, meant regret. It was the last thing he had from the family he'd burned bridges with. To let it go would be to admit he'd lost it all, so they clung to it. She for relevance, he for redemption. But love, that was long gone. What was left wasn't partnership. It was a pact. Two people locked in a glittering prison of their own making, bound by secrets and survival. Every love story ends, some with a bang, others with silence. Theirs ended in frost. What started as a rebellion became a brand. What began as truth turned into performance. Meghan, the woman who claimed she wanted peace, was now monetizing her pain on podcasts and documentaries. Harry, the man who hated cameras, was living behind one again.
Completely see that she is shaken by this.
Maybe he is still very upset over her stunt over in Paris. I can't imagine that didn't go unnoticed by him.
No trust. Meghan, who is focused on the future, while Harry has one foot in the past, is very business about it, the source.
Paris had exposed the illusion. New York confirmed it. This wasn't royalty reborn, it was royalty rehearsed. A couple trapped in their own narrative, playing characters that no longer fit. The chemistry faded, the connection cracked. The fairy tale now felt more like a rerun that nobody asked for. And maybe that's the saddest part. They believed they could rewrite their story, but instead they became the villains of their own script. And oh, did the internet feast on it. After that red carpet debacle, social media turned forensic. Twitter threads zoomed in frame by frame. TikTok slowed the clips to catch every micro expression. Did you see that eye roll? Look at his hand. He's pulling away. The divorce glare. The hostage smile. Harry's face became a meme. Blink twice if you're trapped. Meghan's expression became a viral freeze frame. Her smile stretched too wide, her eyes not quite matching it. One fan tweeted, "If this were a Netflix show, they'd call it The Crown Final Season, The Breakup." The internet didn't just watch, it judged, and its verdict was brutal. The fairy tale was dead. What was left was spectacle. And now, here we are. Paris, the beginning. New York, the aftermath. Somewhere between the tunnel and the red carpet, love quietly slipped away. No statement, no press conference, just fading smiles, fewer appearances, and a silence that speaks louder than any PR spin. Because in the end, Meghan didn't lose the palace. She lost the plot. The woman who once conquered the world's headlines is now watching them turn against her. The man who gave up everything for love is realizing that maybe love wasn't enough. They built a brand out of rebellion, but even rebellions lose their fire when there's nothing left to fight for. And now, the world is watching the ashes of their empire drift away. But don't be fooled. This isn't the end. Because in Hollywood, no story ever really ends. It just waits for the next headline, the next leak, the next exclusive. The lights may dim, but the whispers, oh, they never die. So pour another cup of tea, my friends. Because this scandal, this icy, glittering downfall, is only just beginning to unfold.